Happy Monday, June 19. Got my notes here about everything that I wanted to say, because I have a scatterbrain, so in order to keep my thoughts organized, I have to write them down. It's just who I am. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that in the next few days, I'm going to move this series, Things Clay Thinks, over to my personal channel, which doesn't have any videos on it, because it's just the login I made when I first found YouTube. But I'll try to remember to put a link in the thingy down there. It just feels inappropriate for the channel. Three Cynics is supposed to be about whimsical entertainment, not political discourse. I don't know, that's my reasoning. I'm going to wait a little while for the reaction to this video, if there is any, to make the move. So you guys let me know in the comments what you think of that idea. Is this series wrong for Three Cynics? The idea that we spend a dozen or more hours a week just playing video games and screwing things up and trying to make fun. I feel like the series, it just doesn't fit. So, and it might be that there are two different audiences. Most of our audience shows up for the games and the goofiness. And well, our deprecating banter. But there's a small minority that shows up for this series as well. And it is small. So, would it be best to divide it so that people who like this series don't see the gaming in the feed, or people who like the gaming don't have to see political discourse in the feed? You tell me. As far as the audio version goes, it will remain on the Three Cynics feed because there's nowhere else to put it. And RSS feeds are expensive. And we're not going to pay for a second one. I'm surprised I got Nate to pay for the first one. It's crazy. So, if you're an audio listener and you prefer one type of content over another, just pay attention to what comes into the feed and be discriminatory in what you download and listen to. Or don't. Listen to all of it. That's even better. I think this week's podcast will actually be a discussion about the direction of the podcast. I've had individual conversations with the various members of the podcast, but we really need to get together and have a serious group discussion of what we want to do. Because if we include too much of any one thing or any things that too many of us don't want to talk about, well, that's going to make for boring and potentially frustrating content. And if we overload certain ideas, then the conversation might take a turn that also doesn't fit the Three Cynics YouTube channel. Maybe doesn't fit the audio feed. I don't know. I have no idea. For about a year, we tried to do a gaming podcast. But I'm not exactly sure how people do gaming podcasts, because there's not that much to talk about. Now, you could argue that, of course you could. But I listened to The No's podcast, The No, or what was it called? I don't remember. But The No just started a brand new gaming podcast, and now I listened to the Funhouse podcast, and the topic of gaming often lacks depth so much that most of the conversation is parenthetical or tangential. It's just the nature of it. Aside from that, we've discussed in the past, not everybody wants to talk about gaming, etc., etc. So, we gotta find a way to make something that engages all of the members and our audience. So, reactions to any of the topics at hand, leave a comment on YouTube, on SoundCloud, either one. Just leave us a comment. Tell us what you want, because, well, shit, 50% of the podcast is essentially for our own entertainment. The other 50% is for yours. So tell us what you want. And I'll see you tomorrow. No, tonight, Monday Night Live. Don't miss it.